So the new Mark 8.5 Facelift Golf GTI Clubsport has now been revealed as long with the Golf GTI. So I'm going to go through some of the images just shown here, which has been announced. I'm filming this on the 31st of May 2024. And yeah, and just go through the details of what we kind of know so far. Well, there's a load of images that we kind of got which we can go through and just sort of digest. Figures are kind of shown here. They mentioned the GTI has now gone to 265 PS, so it's up by 20 PS. The Clubsport remains the same power. But I believe, well, I don't believe, it's what it says here. It has an optional kind of race package which you can get, which I believe gives it speeds up to 267 kilometers an hour. It also has a new wheel design and actually some forged wheels. I can't pronounce the name. Warmeneu, 19-inch forged wheels, which reduce unsprung weight. Front end has changed a little bit, looks a little bit more aggressive actually. I've also heard the brakes are supposed to be a little bit bigger, but it does seem to be a little bit vague of some of the changes. Obviously, I've discussed the Mark 8.5 facelift in general, just some of the exterior changes, and this sort of sharpens things up. It's got a black roof as well, as you can kind of see there. Obviously available in other colours too, not just in white. You can get an optional Akrapovic exhaust. I also understand you can get carbon fibre sort of interior trim, I believe. Similar to like that was on the 20 years. That's my understanding of the Golf R. And there's no news on the Golf R as yet. That is believed to still be happening in the Mark 8.5, which I believe we'll hear about probably next month in June, I would probably say. It normally comes... Well, this is the top of the right range, the Mark 8.5 Facelift Golf. You get the new infotainment, which I've gone through in depth on my channel as well. And you get physical buttons as well on the steering wheel, which is nice. Nice leather interior, actually, with a little bit of sort of carbon fibre parts. It makes things better. Now, one thing that I do really like about this is kind of like the gloss black that is kind of shown around here. Basically, on a standard Clubsport Mark 8, I tried one of the early ones, and I also tried the Clubsport 45. Really, really cool cars to drive. It did kind of feel a little bit cheap on the outside, I'm not going to lie. I mean, it was just really scratchy plastic. Now it seems you get the gloss black, you get the shiny gloss black, which does enhance the quality. A few people have mentioned on the Mark 8.5 facelift, you get this sort of stuck on the front. That's actually mandatory from just legislation now. Just for safety reasons, cars have to be more autonomous and all that. So you can't blame the designers for having a big square in the front. But I do like the kind of edges that they've got. Certainly looks more aggressive with the lights as well, and it's obviously got the red bar too, which looks nice. Be interesting to see what sort of colours you can kind of option this in as well. You get the larger rear spoiler shown at the back. You get a new selection of wheels. So on the GTI it starts from 17-inch wheels, and on the Clubsport it starts from 18-inch wheels, but you can get the optional 19-inch wheels, and there's a variety of choice to kind of choose from. These wheels look particularly like, I believe they're called Queensland. Yeah, and the Akrapovic exhaust is an option, all increasing the price. On the price, I'm not too sure. Would hope that the GTI and the GTI Clubsport can sit below the £40,000 mark in the UK. With options, it's going to be more, but we're just going to have to see from that. It's got the same EA888 Gen 4 2-litre turbo, four-cylinder inline. There's a bit more of the inside too of the Clubsport. You get a little GTI badge shown on sort of the steering wheel just there. And you can actually change all the mood lighting around. So you've got like red, which obviously makes more sense for GTI. And one thing that they've changed is a little bit in like the software. So the difference in modes is more apparent in a Clubsport compared to a GTI. So they've tweaked like the progressive steering. Obviously everything's more electric now. You know, cars have to self-steer. It's very little feel. But they've just changed it to try and give more feel and to make it more dynamic. Basically, the dynamic chassis control has been overhauled quite a lot as well. I tried it quite recently in the black edition actually, which was a Mark 8, but it was a late Mark 8, and it felt really, really good. Obviously that will stiffen things up and just makes things a little bit firmer and more energetic. It hasn't got mechanical locking front diff at the front. Both cars have an e-diff, which again is just like sense it's kind of like torque vectoring or kind of like braking inside wheel, I believe. And this is probably going to be one of the last ones before some sort of hybrid or electric in the future. So yeah, and it's a facelift. So the big stuff for the Mark 8.5 facelift was the interior, which I've discussed quite a lot. The new IDA ChatGPT touchscreen, the physical buttons which are back instead of the haptic buttons, all in the automatic gearbox as well. It's the same on both on the GTI and the GTI Clubsport. No manual option available, all in 5 doors as well. This is the part, the intelligent networked GTI Sports running gear, and it just talks about the progressive steering. It talks about the McPherson front axle and 4-link suspension, 4-link rear axle, and it's just like, yeah, trying to make it a bit more dynamic, and that's basically the idea. Proof will be in the pudding to see what it kind of drives like. But I always like the GTI Clubsport. I think it's a great car. Normal GTIs are pretty great. I'm glad they're still making them. And yeah, they're still kind of pushing it in 2024. Dynamic chassis control has been tweaked. So it's all like kind of like the electronical stuff, which makes the difference when in stuff like the driving modes, just to improve things, you know. And it'll be interesting to see how the improvement is over the Mark 8, because on the surface level, it's not like a massive game changer. But again, things are subjective feel, subjective in looks and design. That's all personal preference at the end of the day of what people like and what people kind of want in a car. And yeah, I'm interested to see what the 19-inch forged alloy wheels are like, the lightweight ones. So when it's available on the configurator, I'll show you it further. Akrapovic exhaust. Interesting to see what noise it makes, given a lot of the regulations now. These are sort of like the leather electronic seats. Gloss black around the outside is a big difference. That little mode there comes from, well, it's a little like, oh, there's so many different widgets and configuration in that tool. It's pretty endless. It's interesting that they don't show the optional package, and it will be interesting to see the overall price of the car. But obviously, looks are subjective. Everything's subjective to individuals. Let me know what you think. You know, I've got a lot of GTI enthusiasts and Golf enthusiasts. I quite like this actual image. It seems I've stuck on it. The gloss black rear diffuser certainly looks a lot more premium, and I think that's the level that these cars are getting to now. You know, I drove a Civic Type R recently, and a lot of people were sort of telling me, oh, is it worth £50,000? And I was like, well, the quality inside and the fact that you can't really get many of them, it's in a level now where that is the price of them. They are very premium vehicles now. They are not, unfortunately, as much for your everyday person. GTI was always on the boundary of being quite expensive anyway, from even 10 years ago. Now they're very hard, and they have to up the premium because it's the law of diminishing returns. You know, the competitors catch up. I've driven some fantastic hot hatches, and now Volkswagen, you know, they've created something and they've improved the quality of it, particularly inside and out. Looks like they've just done their nip and tuck, and this is what has been kind of created from it. 7-speed DSG. 5.6 seconds for the Clubsport, 5.9 for the GTI, 265 PS for the GTI, 300 PS for the GTI Clubsport, 400 Newton meters worth of torque as well for the Clubsport. So I believe this was in Germany. This was where obviously a little bit of the press release kind of came out. You can see a lot more of the gloss black stuff. Oh, the illuminated VW badge, that looks nice. And yeah, it looks smart. I was discussing with another person in the automotive space, and she said it looks smart when she was up close and personal with it, and I'm sort of the same. It's a very classy kind of look, and actually the Clubsport's normally been a bit leery. The Golf R has normally been the classy one, so that's interesting. You've got the diamond cut wheels there. It's quite interesting with this video and going through it. Actually, it gives a nice sort of impression and overview of the car. And yeah, I'm gonna kind of leave it running for a little bit just so you guys can see and kind of decide what you think about these kind of cars. You know, do you think they're getting to a level where that's potentially just too expensive, or they don't make sense in today's times? For me, I feel it's always great when a manufacturer puts the effort into trying to design something and to create something for you know, it's subjective for anyone else to buy. This one said something about Oryx White. Oryx White is a fantastic special metallic paint, and hopefully I'll be really interested to see the different colours that you can get in this car, and just to kind of spice it up a little bit. The black roof, it's interesting how it's working with the white there. Yeah, nice little spoiler looks. Yeah, that's definitely Oryx. You can see well, I can see anyway. Hopefully you can kind of see as well from the videos that I'm showing. This one's got the Akrapovic exhaust, again, likely to be an option. I think fully spec'd, you're £50,000 surely, with the Akrapovic exhaust, the lightweight forged wheels, any other options that don't normally come with the car. Although a GTI Clubsport doesn't normally make as much sense with like a pan roof and stuff, so you can probably save on that. gloss black diffuser. I think it's called shiny gloss black. And then you've got the lights at the back, which look, which look pretty special. It says okay, so this is just looking inside the inside. Gloss black sort of shown again as well. I felt in the facelift Mark 8.5, they've improved little bits the colour quality, just the touch and feel for me. I had a little feel of one of the first ones in the UK. That's kind of the carbon fibre bits, which I believe is an option that you can get. And yeah, the physical touch buttons. Maybe they've changed the graphics as well. That looks like a lap timer as well. Perhaps that's specific for the Clubsport over a GTI. You've got the pulsating start button. And yeah, you've got all the. It'd be interesting if they have some sort of like modes in there. There is a special mode for the Clubsport. I believe that sort of just puts everything in like Nürburgring kind of mode. Yeah, that's quite nice. I like the front. It's got the honeycomb kind of effect. A lot more angles going about it too. It's a sleek look from the front. Yeah, the gloss black for me feels more R rather than Clubsport, you know, it like without, because it hasn't got the red bar. Yeah, you could easily mistake this for an R actually. Oh yeah, it's shiny gloss black. That does look nice. This, I believe, yeah, this is at the Nürburgring. Yeah, this is in Germany. This is the Grand Prix track, I believe. Shiny badge, shiny gloss black around there. Just shows better quality. That was all sort of scratchy, plasticky bits. And I think you can get the option for the gloss black bits. And sorry if I'm sort of saying think and not so sure, because it will be specific to your region. And until I go onto the configurator and sort of check things out when that's available, I can't be 100% sure on all the changes. And the GTI, it's nice that that's in red and the red brake calipers. The discs are apparently a little bit bigger too, to improve stopping power, and obviously being front wheel drive, it's lighter than the four wheel drive are. Wow, look at the shine on that. Fair play to the photographers on this. Oh yeah, you've got the light bar. Wow, they're really going back and forth. I'm not going to waste your time by just going through all these because, yeah, I would have liked a bit more of a popping colour, you know. But you can get one of those. They've gone for white and the 18-inch wheels and the sort of black pack. Yeah, that wing looks pretty good, and the black roof kind of makes the car look lower. The diffuser looks really, really nice with the Akrapovic exhaust. Although with Akrapovic exhaust nowadays, back when it was available on the Mark, back on like the Golf R in the Mark 7.5, the Akrapovic exhaust was like a full system. Certainly in the UK before OPFs became a thing in sort of like 2018, pre-2018. And they made a fantastic noise. Since then, obviously OPFs restricted it, and I believe now, and I heard actually from Joe Achilles actually, because he did one on the Audi S3 which had an Akrapovic exhaust. It's just like the back box, so it's a smaller proportion of an Akrapovic exhaust, and to pay, I think the Akrapovic exhaust is about £3,500 in the UK. That's a lot for just a small part. And how much it's going to change the sound, I'm not so sure. But it is titanium, it is lightweight, it is premium. It's the sort of stuff you can get on Lamborghinis. And that's pretty cool to have on your Clubsport. You know, I'd love to have an Akrapovic exhaust on my Golf R from factory. That's nice. The steering wheel, interesting thoughts on that. Sometimes you can get them in Alcantara. Maybe there'll be some sort of like Clubsport edition coming out or something. Or like a CS or some sort of, you know, final send off. They're leaving something on the table. That's the carbon fiber interior kind of going through there. Yeah, and the quality and the touch and feel feels nice. That looks actually quite nice, doesn't it? Just enhances the quality, although you really see the plasticky lower down. Gloss black, no manual. This is a community channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. That's the biggest thing. You know, everything's kind of subjective, and yeah, like, share, subscribe. I'll share more on this as I kind of know further, and hopefully in the future get a chance to experience it in person and share it with you on the channel. And yeah, very interested to know everyone's thoughts in the comments, so please do share them and kind of work together. Let me know if you're thinking of getting one over sort of like a standard Mark 8, or if perhaps you're not inclined to, or yeah, or if you think some of the updates are really, really good. Yeah, I'm happy they're making it, because a lot of hot hatch manufacturers have pulled out. You know, Hyundai have pulled out with the i30N and the i20N and cars like that, and cars becoming harder and harder to produce now particularly with the fact that they have to sell a certain amount of, well, they're limited to the amount of ICE, so internal combustion engine cars that they can sell. That's just by law. So actually, they're being restricted to actually sell these kind of petrol cars. You know, this is just a 2 litre inline four cylinder, and yeah, at least it's here. At least it's here. But yeah, super excited to see it and super excited to kind of share it for the first time. But thank you so much for watching. And yeah, if there's no more on the, yeah, because I think we're just going through the last images. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I will leave it there. But yeah, thoughts in the comments below. New GTI Clubsport. Here it is. And what do you think?